You don't want to be short. You want to be picking your positions when there is faster downside move. Once that breaks, there will be a squeeze on the stock. If you're seeing this pop and saying, oh, I missed out on this move or something like that, there's a bigger move that's in store for you. Pick your strong stocks, pick the high momentum stocks, draw your resistance levels and support levels and see where your support comes, which was the previous resistance on the chart. Pick those stocks up and, you can clearly beat the S&P very, very easily. I think there's going to be a huge upside to that stock itself. It's our $250 billion stock. I think when he said 1 trillion. So let's not say, conservatively speaking, even if it doubles from here, you're doubling your money. So next 4 years probably might be Bitcoin. So 2030, we might be targeting somewhere around the 200K range. This setup is basically look below and rip kind of situation where, this is where the bears are being trapped and they'll be forced to close their positions.
Cause we pop 'em like overridden vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
Nice sunny days. I've been in Minnesota the past 2 weeks, so apologize to all of our audience. Things are not my normal setup. Things are a little off, but we finally have a nice little green day here today. I know we're going to be touching on Micron. We're going to be touching on, I'm adding Nebius in there as well.
Okay.
Of course, this is my baby, but
we can add IWM also in there. That chart looks pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll be running through a lot of that today. Things start to look a little bullish. We had the news today that I don't know if it's real or not, with the AWS getting bombed over in Iran. And I know Nvidia came out. I was talking about, they came out and claimed 9% of Nebius. And so I thought that was the interesting news. My conspiracy theory hat said, hey, maybe this is AWS is getting bombed. People need to go over, rent more GPUs. So we'll see how that all plays out. But let's figure this out here. Oh my God, this is terrible. There we go, somewhat. Sorry, I'll try to pull this chart up. Hold on, Jody, if you're listening, this is being funky today. Sorry about this, dude.
That's okay.
This is what happens when you go live and can't figure this out. Let's try this now. All right, that one works.
Oh yeah, that
live.
Okay, finally. All right, let's start off with SPY, and then we'll talk about QQQ, obviously IWM, and then the other stocks. So on the daily on SPY, obviously there's no real trend line that I can draw for the bottom, but definitely looks more bullish today, given we have reclaimed that 9 and 20 EMA. The 9 and 20 EMA definitely are in the right positions, they have never crossed down or anything like that, and very low volume day, something that to look out for as well. I think that once that 750, 754 region kind of breaks, we are in for a treat there for all-time highs and filling up that bear gaps up. So if you look at the 65-minute chart also, we had a bear gap here on Friday, which is not filled yet. We are in the process of filling it. It gets filled at 751. An intraday fill of that bear gap will obviously act as resistance. So we might have something like, a move like go up here and then down and then shoot right back up. That's probably what I'm expecting. I do want this 9 EMA to cross over the 20 EMA pretty soon on the 65-minute. Obviously, that is a shorter time frame, gives some momentum for the bulls. On the daily, though, we are still bullish, short-term bullish, long-term bullish, everything bullish as per the chart. And most of the time, I would say like 8 out of 10 times, a chart like this always breaks to the upside. I can't give you the time frame when it breaks, but otherwise, I know that this is a bullish setup, and you don't want to be short. You want to be picking your positions when there is a faster downside move or something like that we have seen last week. And I think we talked about this also in NBIS, which is a great stock. I think I tweeted about this also, where remember, Avi, we were talking about it last week, where it broke down. We were targeting that 165 area. It actually hit 165 exactly. I didn't even realize.
I was a week early on it.
Yeah.
which
So
killed me.
we actually hit 135, 165, which was the previous stop, and then like now we are like ravaging. It's 20% almost today. So this is what you have to do. Pick your strong stocks, pick the high momentum stocks, draw your resistance levels and support levels, and see where your support comes, which was the previous resistance on the chart, and pick those stocks up, and like you can clearly beat the S&P very very easily once you understand that, and that is essentially what you have to do. Obviously you see, like the thing again, like you said you were 4 days early, which is fine, right? Like I remember you said you got in at 190ish or something like that, and you're not going to touch it and not going to sell it until
90. Originally I got in at like 60, but I only had like 10 shares. So I don't really count that as like, but then I loaded up at like 94. Rode that to, I think it got to like 290 or something.
Yeah, I think that's where you sold it, like almost at $300.
Yeah, that's where you told me, and so did Joey, and I tried to get cute, and I ended up selling some at 188. Like an idiot. Then rebought back in at 206, and then it dropped again. I was like, all right, I'm not touching this thing. Yep. Not trying to get cute. I know the stock in 5 years is going to be in a good spot. So
yeah, but still, like even if you were 4 days early, you're still in the green. So
yeah, I'm
it
fine.
Doesn't matter. Nobody can really pick the bottom, so it's okay. So, like things like that. It's the same thing with MU. I was talking about the same thing with MRVL. Like people like Jensen, they just don't go out and blabber nonsense, right? Like they have to see why he said what he said with respect to a $1 trillion company. And I think MRVL is going to guide up this earnings. I think there's going to be a huge upside to that stock itself. It's our $250 billion stock. I think when he said 1 trillion, so let's not say conservatively speaking, even if it doubles from here, you're doubling your money. So
yeah.
I would probably pick stocks like that, like where during these drawdowns, which are heavy drawdowns, and something that I also talk about quite a bit when you look at the weekly time frame. Drawdowns on high momentum stocks like these towards the 20 EMA, these are your pickup spots, right? Like obviously you would have bought it at 190 or something like that, and it dropped down to 177. But then now again you're in the green, and there's a huge upside potential to it. So
you think the SPY, going back to what you were saying with the SPY, I mean, next week, massive earnings. We start with tomorrow's Tesla, Intel's on Thursday. What else? There's something else tomorrow. Tesla and
Google,
obviously Google. And then next week we got Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon. So I'd imagine this is the retail investor meet. SPY is waiting to see kind of what happens here. Or are you seeing that they're expecting good earnings?
I think Google, I think will probably flag a little bit. Like when you look at Google stock, this is something that these big tech do all the time. It had a huge ramp up, right? Like look at the ramp up that it had. Now it's like kind of like bull flagging, trying to figure it out and things like that, and it's like back to the previous highs. Okay. But anyway, it's kind of bull flagging. It's trying to figure out its price, and like there's some news around their a new model not being launched or being delayed by 4 months and things like that. So like it can probably flag a little bit, like it can remain in range between this 350 to 400 for like a year again before it kind of ramps up again towards that 5 trillion, $7 trillion company range. But Google, in my opinion, is a buy and forget kind of stock. Like Google is one of the best out there. Yeah. I mean, it's the best ETF out there. That's how I see Google.
They have like Waymo yesterday. Joey took his first Waymo, and he's just like blown away.
Yeah.
And they also have Anthropic, a big chunk of Anthropic as well.
Big chunk of SpaceX.
Yeah. So Google, yeah, it's a great way to phrase it as an ETF.
Yep. So like I just love Google, and talking about Waymo, like if you ever are in Scottsdale, I'll show you some bizarre incidents on Waymo. Like I mean, Waymo has been around in Arizona for like probably 4-5 years now, but you'll see some bizarre scenes on Waymo on the road. So
That's crazy. I was saying I rented a Tesla. Every time I come back to Minnesota, I'll rent the Tesla, and it's just like fascinating to me. The self-driving. I drove up to my cabin, spent 2 hours. It drove all the way up there for me. So I'm very bullish full self-driving, and Google does have a big play in there.
Yeah. So yeah.
Go to Marvell. You're saying?
I'm sorry.
Did we touch on Marvell?
Yeah, I can touch on Marvel right now. So MRVL, it's the same thing that I was talking about. Last week was where it dropped off to the 20 EMA on the weekly. We were seeing that big pop. I was hoping that this trend line would reclaim on Friday last week, but then I was kind of sure about this kind of move happening last week also, how it kind of bounced back with about 20% coming into this week. One of the main reason or something that I was quoting also was how we caught MU for a 3x on the shares, right? Like if you look at MU, it did the same exact thing back in the day where it dropped off from 466 all the way down to 315. This was where we kind of added it, right? This was where I was posting, oh, MU is a great buy at around 340 zone. Obviously it did dip down quite a bit from there, probably like 30 40 points, but look at what the reward was, right? So strong stocks, strong momentum stocks always have moves like these happening, where you have a fast dip towards that 20 MA, and then you have you'll at least have a dead cat bounce, and you can profit based off that position on your month out expiries or something like that. But if you really love the stock, I think that is where you want to add your stock as well. So I really like what is happening with MRVL. I think 218-ish is the zone that I'll be looking out for this week. If that kind of breaks out, obviously we are finding that resistance at the 9 EMA today on the daily, at around 211. But 218 is my target for this week. Once that breaks, we can easily cruise through towards that 230 to 244 zone on MU here.
I'm on Marvel, you mean, right?
Yeah.
I am on 215s right now, so I am I'm hoping you're correct on that. Go to Bitcoin real quick, because Bitcoin's having a little revival. And yesterday, JFDI was talking about how he feels like we may be on the way to being back. And I love when my stock guys who hate Bitcoin typically are starting to watch it again. But
I think last week is when we talked about Bitcoin bottoming. I should have taken that clip out and posted it on my feed too, but I'll be making another video on it. But this is something that I was talking about. This is the exact thing that I saw back in 2022 on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
something like that. And look at what happened. The exact same bullish divergence we are seeing. It's absolutely the same type of wrap up that we are seeing on the RSI as well. Same kind of bullish divergence we are seeing. Once that 72,000 or so, 75,000 or so is reclaimed, I think we go back all the way to all-time highs. Definitely look at this kind of ramp up, right? Like you want to, if you want to see what the risk reward here is, this is the ramp up that you're talking about, which is about 640%. Let's say it's even if it goes for example, 300% from here, all the way to let's say 200%. It's 120, 120 points from here, which is about 180K on Bitcoin. So this again, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I'm talking about 2022 to all the way to 2026, right? 4 years it took. So next 4 years probably might be Bitcoin. So 2030 we might be targeting somewhere around the 200K range on Bitcoin, and this might be a great opportunity for people who really love crypto and missed out on that huge big rallies that happened in Bitcoin. And I personally think this is the bottom on Bitcoin this year.
Yeah, I mean it's been tumultuous to say the least, and but we've seen it. I mean, me and Jody and most people in Bitcoin, you talk to them, they were not afraid, of this. They've seen it before. It happens every 4 years. I think the majority of Bitcoiners are wrong on the sense that we thought the 4-year cycle was dead. But it proved us right once again. And I think in this attention economy, right, it kind of lost the momentum that the AI trade. Everyone jumped into the AI trade. Now everyone's looking at Bitcoin, bottoming out. And I think, I don't want to say we're back for sure quite yet, because it could be, a little trickery here, but this lines up pretty well with everyone talking about, October, November, heading into 2027, that it should be a big year for it. So
yeah,
I'm locked in. I got a bunch of Bitcoin, got a bunch of MSTR that I'm way underwater on, but it correlates very, very closely, obviously, to Bitcoin. So
yeah. I mean, I this too. Like, I don't like MSTR at all. Like, because but then I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin. So crypto. If any crypto that I advise people to, like, say, hey, I want to invest in crypto, just go buy Bitcoin. It's very stable. It's stabilizing. I wouldn't say it's very stable as other assets, but then it's stabilizing. There's quite a bit of distribution of wealth that happen on Bitcoin, and something that most people don't understand over time with money is once you have a huge crowd of people who made a bunch of money, just like Tesla. I was talking about this on Tesla. I was talking about this on Nvidia. Again, Bitcoin. All these early investors who have piled in, all these big guys who have piled in and are sitting on like billions of dollars, you really think they're going to sell their positions to get out and put profits? No way. They are never going to do that, because they take collaterals on their assets to fund other programs or other investments or things like that. They will never sell the assets that they are so big on, because they're going to be hit with a huge tax bill. So that's called, that's where distribution of wealth comes in. And where at certain levels there will be panic sellers, and there will be huge drawdowns, like let's say 30-40% on assets like Bitcoin, or 20-25% on assets like Nvidia, Tesla. But at the end of the day, these people, there are so many people, they have a huge base of people who have made a ton of money, who will not sell their positions on drawdowns, and they will hold the price stable at a certain point.
Well, that's what's happening. I think the whales have sold off already. They sold a lot at like 100,000. You could see, and now you can see like where the volume was, or where they actually bought. And to your point, we kind of hit it, and so I think we're hopefully in the clear now. Look at Coinbase is up 11%. What else do we have? The one thing that was interesting is go to Circle real quick. I don't see what's going on. Circle, awesome pop. But Circle's got, and you see the big drawdown here. I think this was caused because there's a conglomerate now of like Visa, MasterCard. They're going to come out with their own stable coin as well. And that's going to be hard to fight against when you have these massive companies all connecting as one. So that's going to be an interesting play. What's your play of the week if you go public with that? I don't want you to share if it's.
I don't know. Like this week, I'm just going with the flow. Mostly, I'm looking at a bunch of stuff. Firstly, obviously, MRVL. I mean, I've been talking about this since yesterday. So 218. That's one I'm looking out for. Obviously, I wanted to talk about IWM because this is a clean chart here. I'm expecting a peekaboo kind of setup here. 296 just broke. I feel 300 can come up very fast. So you can play RUT, or you can play 0 DTEs on IWM and make some good cash there too. But I really like this setup. 920 pinching against each other. Nice consolidation that's going on inside day, trying to break higher on today, and the breaking the trend line as well. So I kind of like the setup that the IWM is having right now.
What are you any earnings? I guess we could touch on them next week too, since we'll be able to hit Microsoft, Meta, Apple, and Amazon. But any way to play these heading into earnings? As I've started to notice too, like the big money is made in the run up, and then after earnings on options, it's really tough just with the IV. But anything that you're of these ones that you're like loving, or you think that they should do?
I absolutely love Meta, man. Like, look at Meta. Like, look at that consolidation. Like, this is almost an 8 to 10 month consolidation that it has had, and it hit that upper trend line at 680, an inside week this week. Still, like, obviously only 2 days past. The 9 is crossing over the 20, which is a huge indicator here. And see what happened when the 9 crossed the 20 last time. 9 crossed the 20 here, and then look at the ramp up that Meta had. I think, like I keep saying, like, Meta is $1,000 stock, this and that, but this is one stock that you can look for a run up into its earnings. This is definitely something that I'm looking out for.
I want to go to Predix, which the market moved pretty quickly on. So Predix is our sponsor, first prediction market that's 100% Bitcoin backed. So you put in Bitcoin, it's all on the Lightning Network. So I made this one yesterday, actually. Went in, so easy to actually like make. I should go live and just make one of these things, because it took me like 5 seconds, literally. Because they have AI in there, and it will like set it all up for you. I made this maybe a couple days ago, I think either Monday or the day before. And quickly, I mean, look how fast this is going to hit 75,000, now sitting at 97%. I'm up 68% on this trade myself.
Wow.
You think it's pretty, I think there's you can make a lot of money in these prediction markets, and I'm just starting to play around with them a little bit more now.
How's the volume on these, Avi? Like, how fast can you?
This one's pretty low. If we go to like Bitcoin, there's a lot on the BIP 110. Bitcoin here. If you type in the markets, and this one has a bunch of, this one's got almost 300 million Satoshis in there. So this is a startup, so they're just getting going, and we're helping them out, to get marketing out there. But it's like, awesome. If you want to go out and make Bitcoin, obviously you can lose as well, but it's just like a fun way to stack. And these markets, I mean, like, if that was a trade in the market, I'd be super happy going up 60%, on that.
Hey man, I just
got. I'm telling them to do is we got to get even bigger markets, because it's all priced in Satoshis. And I was like, oh, depositing $10. But that's also kind of like the fun way to get involved with prediction markets that I like is you're really only spending $10, $15, on these trades. And so it's a cool way for you to get involved early on, play around with it. And then, if you want to, you can get in, something like this, where there's 1 million Satoshis of liquidity on this one, almost, over 12,000 trades on this one as well. So it's fun. And it's not just, Bitcoin stuff. They have the sports as well. You can pop into, I'm not good at this, but any of the sports markets you can get into as well. So I typed it in wrong. But it's really fun. I think, I mean, 75K now, it didn't seem realistic before, but now I think it's inevitable.
That's good. Yeah.
Any price targets you have on Bitcoin by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, I think it'll probably close somewhere around 90 to 100K.
90 to 100K. All right.
Yeah.
Figure this out here. Add to stage. There we go. Love it, dude. Anything else here as we wrap up the show that you wanted to touch on? Johnson?
Nothing else. Just keep an eye out for QQQ. It's looking pretty good, solid. It's definitely reclaiming that trend line that it broke down. This setup is basically look below and rip kind of situation, where like you have this is where the bears are being trapped, and they'll be forced to close their positions out once this trend line is reclaimed. So it can create kind of a huge squeeze to the upside. Definitely look at MU. This is looking solid as well. Falling wedge breaking out. Very nice move with the 9 and 20 also being reclaimed today. Obviously, I would prefer the 9 going over the 20 and then probably getting into some momentum trades as well. But great bounce today, and I think it's looking for that 1045 level kind of being reclaimed. Also, do remember Michael Burry is also short this stock at around 1050. So once that 1050 level kind of breaks, there will be a squeeze on the stock, because dude, like I was just refreshing some stuff, and I was reading a theory where, let's say he has 100,000 subscribers, right? Like, and each of them just bought like 100 like let's say each of them is short 10 shares of Micron when he posted it or whatever, and that's about 10 million shares short. Not his position, just his subscribers' positions, right? So maybe he is a person who can hold on to his position for quite some time, but then most of his subscribers won't be able to, given the fee and everything, right? So that is where I think the squeeze will really begin on MU. And if you're seeing this pop and saying, "Oh, I missed out on this move" or something like that, there's a bigger move that's in store for you, and just be aware of that, and you'll be fine.
I need to figure out some algorithm too when the trade becomes crowded, because MU felt crowded. Same thing I saw with Nebius, right? Everyone was talking about it, and that was your time to get out, right?
Yep.
So it feels, and you can see it with social media. It's like your whole timeline saying one stock, like that's probably reaching like a top.
Yeah.
SNDK obviously trades in parallel.
I'm not even kidding about this, Avi. Like, I had this conversation with a guy on Twitter, totally random guy, and he goes like, I think SNDK was trading somewhere around the 2,100 range, and Apple came out with this news that they are looking for alternatives, like getting memory chips from China and things like that. And I was like, you know what? If anything, Apple has a strong foothold. Like it's a big company, and it can disrupt supply chains with their product. So a news like this will definitely bring a short-term momentum towards the downside for the memory stocks. Doesn't matter if it was MU, doesn't matter if it was SNDK, it doesn't matter if SNDK supplies to Apple, doesn't matter WTC or STX, whatever that is, right? And he goes, it's funny to take opinions from people who don't trade and tweet more. And I'm like, dude, do you even understand what you're talking about? Like, and then he goes like, know what you own. SNDK does not supply to Apple. 3 weeks after, I specifically remember this tweet was on 6/28. 3-4 weeks after, the stock traded 1,000 points down from what he said.
That's crazy. And I'm one of the retail traders that you catch on. You see like everyone's starting to talk about it, and as a retailer, you typically have the weaker hands, right? And so funds, I'm sure, have these algorithms in place on social sentiment. When it hits a certain barrier, they're like, let's flush all the retail money out. Because like Micron, for example, I think that's going to be like a $2,000 stock, right? But when they say they can get, flush retail out really quickly, then rebuy back in when they want to. So
which retail holder can hold his position this way? Right. I don't think any retailer out there can have his account half and still hold that position.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you caught you want to keep your gains, right? So it's played out for me with Nebius, right? I was like, oh fuck, it may be like finally time where they're going to flush this thing. And it happened, but I got in. I traded that poorly. So when you believe in a stock, my learnings from that is just put it in your IRA and don't touch it. That's in my long-term portfolio. So cool, man. Well, always a pleasure bringing you on. I will be back in New York tomorrow. So thankfully I'll have my setup, and all these technical issues that were happening today shouldn't happen again. This is kind of fun, little boxes that we're in right now. I appreciate it, everyone. If you're new, definitely follow at Problem Sniper on X, on Twitter, and follow us at Daily Stack HQ. And we'll be back tomorrow at 12:30. Sniper, we're going to start going at 11:30 Eastern now. Or excuse me, 1:30 Eastern.
Okay.
We'll start going at. So make sure we'll put announcements out, but we're going to do that just so we don't have the big gap in between anymore. So appreciate everyone for coming.
Because we pop them like overridden vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire.